My wife and I, we went to the movies recently, and we saw this film by um, The Woman King. We saw The Woman King, and powerful movie. I know it's a controversial movie. Some people go back and forth about it. Some people have had a lot to say about The Woman King. Some people thought it was a great movie. Some people thought it was a horrible movie. I think I saw Teslin Figaro. She had some issues. I can't recall all the things that she said. But I'll just say this about The Woman King. I know by this point a lot of people have probably seen it. Woman King, Viola Davis. She's this great warrior who she's like a general over these females, women rather, should I say, black women, black strong women that she trains, and they're warriors. And there's a king that's over this particular region of Africa, and she's like the general, but she's like the king's secret weapon, as they say in the movie. She's like the secret weapon to the king is the fact that he has strong women who are not afraid to fight. And in the movie, one of the things that I do want to talk about in the movie is the enslavement of people of color is mentioned in The Woman King, and it's part of the plot about people of color selling their own people to the Europeans in the transatlantic slave trade. And some people thought that the movie was well put together. It showed a powerful black woman overcoming how she got the craziness in terms of how she got to where she was, right? How she became that powerful warrior, and how they overcame, the plot that was in the movie. Then there was some people who thought the Woman King um, hurts people of color in our current fight for reparations and things of that nature. And what do you mean by that? Because for years we have been fighting in this country for reparations for the enslavement of people of color in America. And I understand why the movie can be controversial in that aspect, because when we're talking about reparations, excuse me, we're going to Congress, and we're fighting, and trying to get our senators and legislation passed to get us reparations, us people of color who are descendants of those that have been enslaved in America. And I can understand why some people will find this movie problematic, or the question is raised: is the Woman King problematic? It can be, because when we're dealing with reparations, it can give the other side. Hence, let's be clear. Let me be more specific. It can give Republicans an argument, right? It can give Republicans an argument, because people of color, we've been saying for years, well, we need reparations. Y'all been doing stuff for the Jews, and doing stuff for other people. What about people of color? We need our reparations. We need our reparations. And so the fact that more and more people who may not have been aware are now aware that people of color, or Africans, some Africans, were the very ones that sold our ancestors to the Europeans, right? And so now the concern is, well, when we talk about reparations, then they're going to focus on, well, if you're going to talk about reparations, then what about your own people who sold you into slavery, or what about your own people? So if you're going to ask white folks to give you money for reparations, well, aren't you going to ask the Africans to give you reparations for selling you into slavery? And so here's the thing with that. I get it. Okay, I get it. Africans, there was some people in Africa that literally sold us out, and sold us into slavery, and sold us to our oppressors, and sold us to Europeans. I get it. I get it. And there were Europeans that came and took us and snatched us. And but see, the thing is, by the time we got to this soil, there was so much that happened to us by the hands of Europeans. Okay, by the hands of Caucasians or white folks, whichever is your poison to want to refer to them as, right? And so here's the thing: if here's the take on it. if we're going to turn this from let's if you want to talk about reparations, and let's talk about your 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 people, the Africans who sold y'all into slavery, or sold your ancestors into slavery. Listen, that is nothing more. If that's the argument that's going to be used, that is nothing more than white supremacy trying to throw stones and then hide their hands. That is nothing more than white supremacy trying to undermine and water down their role in the enslavement of people of color. Because see, I'm gonna tell you something. While some on the right can say, well, Africans sold other Africans and it was a fair trade. Let me tell you something. Even if that was the case, which it was the case, you are still in receipt of stolen property, which is a crime in America. So you cannot get away with that. You still stole people. You still stole people and turned them into property. Receipt of stolen property is a crime in America. And so yes, when we talk about reparations, we're gonna come for the reparations too, because you ain't nobody is going to get by.
What's happening? This is Donte, Carroll, host of Turn Up the Volume podcast. Listen, do me a favor. If you like this video, do yourself a favor and hit the subscribe button. Also, tap the bell and turn on all of your notifications to see this and more interviews and more shows from my podcast right here on my YouTube page. So y'all hit that like button, tag, share, and subscribe. Y'all be good.